one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing for a moment of silence in honor of our servicemen and women who have served and continue to serve our country both here and abroad. Thank you. Clerk will call the roll.
Councilor Anderson.
Yep.
Bucci. Christensen.
Here.
Condon.
Here.
DePietro.
Here.
Furlong.
Here.
Kinnan. Lucy. Matheson.
Here.
Nestor. Spatafor.
Here. First order of business. Sorry.
Approval of the minutes for the council meeting of November 17th.
On Councilor Christensen's motion to approve the minutes, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Minutes are approved. Next order of business.
Dear members of the council, under the provisions of law, I hereby appoint Daniel Willinger of 509 Fellsway East, Malden, Massachusetts, as a constable to serve process in the city of Malden effective November 19th, said term to expire November 19th, 2012. Very truly yours, Richard C. Howard. Mayor, confirmation is not required.
On Councilor Paul DePietro's motion to place on file, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Item is placed on file. Next order of business.
Application for license to drive a taxi cab. Paul DePiro, 31 Myrtle Street, Everett. William Finn, 52A Fulton Street, Medford. Alfred Mozokia, 11 Elm Road, Everett. Gregory Massey, 87 Endicott Ave, Revere. No, those are the ones that are going
to committee, Councilor. Sure. On Councilor Anderson's motion to refer to license, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Items are referred to license.
These are the ones with no issues.
These are the ones approved.
Application for renewal of Class 1, 2, and 3 dealers licenses. AGM Auto Sales, 135 Eastern Ave. Autotech 2, 1236 Eastern Ave. Automotive Repair, 121 Beach Street. Kenneth LaFosse, 969 Salem Street. C&P Imports, 238 Charles Street. Century Auto Collision and Service, 448 Eastern Ave. Culleton Brothers, 366 Washington Street. Greer Auto Body, 271 Rear Broadway. Hub Starters and Alternators, 172 Broadway. Louis Foreign Car Garage, 191 Salem Street. Malden Auto Sales, 147 Ferry Street. Malden Broadway Auto Body, 590 Broadway. Malden Middlesex Motor Sales, 35 Canal Street. Metro Auto Collision and Sales, 55 Madison Street. Michael's Auto Connection, 269 Broadway. Mike's Auto Body, 251 Broadway. 99 Towing and Truck, 469 Broadway. P&P Enterprises, 369 Salem Street. Quality Auto Sales, 919 Eastern Ave. Route 99 Auto, 70 Broadway. Sega Auto Sales and Service, 449 Ferry Street. Skips Automotive Service, 84 Highland Ave. Superior Auto Body of Malden, Inc., 53 Madison Street. United Coach Works, 78 Broadway. West End Auto, 1 Malden Street. Malden Middlesex Motor Sales, 35 Canal Street.
Councilor Anderson for the committee.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. I understand that these are the licenses that have they're renewals, and those our inspectional services have checked them out. There's no issues that are going on with their taxes have all been paid, and I would then move that we grant those licenses as submitted.
Any questions for Councilor Anderson? Hearing none and seeing none, on Councilor Anderson's motion to grant, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Licenses are granted. Next order of business.
Application for renewal of Class 1, 2, and 3 dealers licenses. Bay State Ambulance Sales, 163 Eastern Ave. Richards Motor Cars, 672 Broadway. Regano's Towing, 1081 Fellsway. Refer to committee.
Refer. On
Move the license.
Councilor Neil Anderson's motion to refer to license, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Items are referred to license. Next order of business.
Application for renewal of amusement machine licenses. Malden Eagles, 75 Meridian Street, Eastside AA, 14 Webster Court. Honey Fitz, 142 Pleasant Street, Italian American Citizens Club, 121 Pearl Street, 621 Tavern and Grill, 621 Broadway. ITAMS, 40 Oakland Street, Irish American Association, 177 West Street, Ancient Order of Hibernians, 259 Charles Street, DAV, 85 Willow Street, Salamo Cafe, 385 Salem Street, Number 9 Ale House, 118 Ferry Street, Malden VFW Post 639, 36 Crystal Street, Royal Order of Moose, 562 Broadway, Malden VFW, 36 Crystal Street, GLS Associates, 50 Holden Street, Malden Elks, 37 Florence Street, Town Line 10 Pin, 665 Broadway, Dockside Restaurant, 229 Center Street, Ryan Amusements, 11 Charles Street, Pearl Street Station, 53 Summer Street.
On Council
Reading.
Neil Anderson's motion to grant license is all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Licenses are granted. Next order of business.
Application for renewal of amusement machine licenses, Ronan's, 166 Eastern Ave.
Move to committee.
On Council Neil Anderson's motion to refer to License Committee, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Item is referred to license. Next order of business.
Application for renewal of extended hours permits, Linden Convenience Plus, 455 Lynn Street, 711, 1018 Eastern Ave, Stop and Shop, 99 Charles Street, Robinson's News, 1556 Eastern Ave, Honeydew Donuts, 691 Eastern Ave, Dunkin' Donuts, 617 Broadway, Planet Fitness, 795 Eastern Ave, Dunkin' Donuts, 424 Main Street, Dunkin' Donuts, 245 Pleasant Street, Dunkin' Donuts, 200 Commercial Street, Dunkin' Donuts, 57 Eastern Ave, Mimi's Roast Beef, 205 Center Street, Elmwood Pharmacy, 299 Pleasant Street, 711, 169 Salem Street.
Yeah, these are extended hour licenses that we may want to take a closer look at, and wherever there may be some neighborhood issues, we'll want to review them more closely. So I would ask that these applications be referred to the License Committee.
Any questions for the councilor? Seeing none and hearing none, on Council Anderson's motion to refer to license, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Items are referred to license. Next order of business.
Claim of Chris Cahill, 55 Beachview Terrace.
On Councilor Greg Lucy's motion to refer to finance, all in favor? All opposed? Item is referred to finance. Next order of business.
The Standing Committee on License, to whom was referred papers number 326B, 355B, 375A through C, series of 2009. Having considered the same, make the following report. Application for taxi driver's licenses. Committee recommends that these licenses be granted. Councilor Anderson for the committee.
On Council
Will
Anderson's...
we receive the committee report?
On Council Anderson's motion to receive the committee report, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Move granting.
Council Anderson's motion to grant license, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Licenses are granted. We're very efficient here tonight, this evening. Next order of business. Not fast enough, though.
The Standing Committee on License, to whom was referred paper number 379, series of 2009. Having considered the same, make the following report. Application for transfer of a Class 2 dealer's license from Bay State Motorsports to Auto Gallery Group Incorporated, 616 Broadway. Committee recommends that this license be granted. Councilor Anderson for the committee.
Will we receive the committee report?
On Council Anderson's motion to receive the committee report, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Move granting.
On Council Anderson's motion to grant, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Licenses are granted. Next order of business.
The Standing Committee on Ordinance, to whom was referred paper number 315, series of 2009, having considered the same, make the following report. Be it ordained that the revised ordinances of 1991 be further amended to add a new section regarding juvenile curfew. Committee recommends that the attached draft be referred to the Public Safety Committee for further review. Councilor Kinnon for the committee.
On Councilor Kinnon's motion to receive the committee report, all in favor? All opposed? Councilor Kinnon for the committee.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. Excuse me. We met over a number of weeks on this issue, and although there is not unanimous support for a curfew, there was support to send this back, a draft of a curfew back to public safety, so that there would be a joint public safety ordinance hearing or hearings sometime in the near future that would be held throughout the community to get the community's input on the curfew that is in draft form, that could certainly be changed, amended, or thrown out if that were not something the community wanted. So with that, I would just move that we move it to public safety.
Any questions for Councilor Kinnon? On Councilor Kinnon's motion to refer to public safety? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Item is referred to public safety. Next order of business. And if the council does not mind, we'll be doing all the financial papers at once. So I don't see any objections. Madam Clerk, please read the papers.
Under suspension of docket rules, ordered that $75,000 be transferred from revenue reserve to police overtime, that $50,000 be transferred from workers' comp claims account to workers' comp medical account, that $80,000 be transferred from revenue reserve to fire department overtime account, that $25,000 be transferred from public facilities labor to public facilities overtime, that $55,000 be transferred from treasurer's salary to controller's salary, that $40,000 be transferred from revenue reserve to various city clerk accounts, that $1,000 be transferred from revenue reserve to Board of Health miscellaneous, and that $10,000 be transferred from revenue reserve to traffic overtime. Councilor Lucy.
On Councilor Lucci's motion to suspend docket rules, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? None. Rules are suspended. On Councilor Lucci's motion to suspend financial rules, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Financial rules are suspended. Councilor Lucci?
Thank you, Mr. President. There's 8 different papers covering 8 different things. There's some transfers within departments. There's some money taken out of revenue reserve. They go everything from paying the special elections to $1,000 for the traffic committee. There's a lot in here. The controller of the city, Don Fermano, is here. If he could come forward to answer any questions. Suspended rules because next week we're not meeting, and because of the holidays, there's some overtime within the fire department, police department. So if anyone has any questions, I'd open up to Mr. Fermano.
Councilors, if there's any questions, I know those papers were read rather quickly, and just to repeat what Councilor Lucy, the reason why we're not meeting next week is because of the primary for the Senate race, so we do have to get these in a timely fashion, especially for some money that's probably already been spent that we have to reimburse for overtime and expenditures. So if there's anybody in particular, would you like the clerk to reread them, or is there any particular questions? Councilor Christensen?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. President. Could we just have the controller maybe make a few remarks to elaborate on what the chairman from finance has stated?
Sure. Councilor Lucy, you want to? Go ahead.
I can go through each paper and give you a quick...
Actually, that'd be helpful.
Description.
That'd be helpful.
I'll start off with the $80,000 transfer out of revenue reserve into the fire department overtime account. The budget, we had appropriated $125,000 for overtime in the fire department. They've expended to date $89,195. They have a balance of $35,805. He had written a letter to the mayor indicating that he would need about $125,000 back into that line item for the next 2 months. Because of the holidays and what have you, he would be experiencing some more overtime. The mayor recommended an $80,000 transfer, and he respectfully requests that this particular transfer be acted upon this evening. The $75,000 appropriation for the police department is perhaps the same language. $125,000 was appropriated. They expended $123,000. Leaving a balance of $2,000 in that account. looking for another $125,000. The mayor recommended $75,000 to be put into that particular account. Somewhat similar to what the mayor had suggested in the past several years, that small amounts of money, hopefully they can manage them, and as they do need monies, that he would look to try to find it. The bulk, I shouldn't say the bulk, a great deal of this money was expended on the overtime that it cost for the 2 shootings that we had in Malden, and they did investigation and what have you, so that created a large expenditure for the police department. $10,000 transfer for the traffic overtime. The majority of this money, the majority of the $15,000 that was appropriated for this particular line item was expended to paint the yellow lines that we see in the middle of our roadways, the crosswalks and the Go Slow Children signs. Excuse me. So the bulk of that money was spent for that particular purpose. They're looking to get $10,000 put back in for any knockdowns that they would have between now and the end of the fiscal year. The $1,000 for the Board of Health, that was to upgrade their software and programming for the H1N1 was it H1N1 virus. He had data that he needed to put into a system. He needed new software. This was for that particular cost. The $40,000 for the city clerk, I think that's self-explanatory. It costs approximately $20,000 per election. We have one next Tuesday, and we have another one that's going to be scheduled in 2 months from now. So this is a requirement that is needed. The $55,000 transfer from treasurer's salary to the controller salary account, that's that $55,000 position that was appropriated in the treasurer collector's budget that has now been transferred into my budget. We have resumes on my desk from a posting that we had that was up as of last Friday. About 35 resumes have come in. I'm in the process of going through that right now, and I'll set up some interviews for next week. The sum of $25,000 from public facility labor into public facility overtime account. We had appropriated $25,000 for overtime in that particular account. To date, they've expended $24,872. The reason for such a large expenditure, that department is down 4 people, and all 1 by way of retirement and 3 by way of workers' comp cases. So in order to do the work that is necessary to maintain the buildings and to take care of the emergencies, a lot of overtime had to be expended. Again, they're looking to have another $25,000 put into that particular account. And finally, there's a $50,000 transfer from workers' comp claim account into workers' comp medical account. That's coming from within the same appropriation. We've done this in the past, that there's been 1 account or 2 accounts within that particular appropriation that's been higher than the other. This is just to switch, shift some of the appropriation from one line item into that department to another line item in that department. And again, it's respectfully requested that these particular transfers be acted upon this evening. Again, because of the time constraints, truly this should have been before you folks at least the end of last month, but because of a lot of situations and circumstances that took place, it couldn't happen, so it's here at this particular date. And I'm willing to answer any questions that you folks might have.
Thank you, Mr. Fermano. Councilor Lucy, I believe you still have the floor, but okay. Thank you, Councilor Lucy. Councilor Christensen?
Mr. President, and if I could just ask Mr. Fermano, the beginning balance on the reserve where the monies are being pulled from versus what it would be after these transfers?
The revenue reserve appropriation for 2010 was $566,567. If these particular transfers are acted upon this evening, I'll leave a balance of $360,567.
Okay. And Dom, I know the council, led by the chairman of finance, Councilor Lucy, we spent a lot of time on the overtime areas of the fire department, police department, in particular the fire department. By acting on the proposal tonight,
I mean, are we still on track in trying to achieve what we discussed last year with respect to overtime?
Yes, we are. I think the mayor has been meeting with the two chiefs on a regular basis to enforce the fact that, funds aren't available this year.
Okay.
They're not like they were last year, in fact, the last 5 or 6 years. So he's enforcing, the message that, you have to make do with what you have. Knowing that we had 125,000 was a stretch for them, to maintain that particular balance for the 12-month period. But he has at least reduced their request down to something that is more manageable. I think anything that's required over and above that in the next 7 months will be something that would have to come from within their budget.
Okay. And I just want to compliment you on the position you talked about. I think the council played a role last year on the financial end of our operation. This position that you spoke of where you have 35 resumes, I noticed that you had done a lot of outreach. I saw it posted, I believe, on the city's website, and that's something that the council's been asking for years. So I do want to, as one member, thank you for the outreach you perform with that particular position. Mr. President, I'm not a fan of doing this all in one night, but I do trust the finance chairman and the controller in trying to, make their jobs a little bit easier. So I, as one member, am okay with moving forward. Thank you, Mr. President.
Again, if I may, Mr.
Sure,
President, I sincerely apologize for this particular situation where we have to come in and rush something through. And but again, it is appreciated if this could happen this evening, given the past history and the time constraints we have going forward to the first of the year. And on the issue of the position being posted, a lot of credit also goes to Ellen McCushion, the Human Resource Director. I worked close with her to get everything done. So,
thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Famano. Thank you, Councilor Christian. Councilor Neil Anderson.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. I, too, am concerned about us doing these suspending docket rules, suspending financial rules for such major transfers that are going on here. I don't like it. I'd prefer to have it go into committees so we can get a chance to see the Finance Committee can get a chance to take a closer look at what's going on here. But I do trust our finance chair and our controller to keep on top of this issue, particularly the overtime issue in the police and fire. Now, I heard you mention that the part of the overtime request for the police department had to do with some unusual police activities, the shootings and so forth. What's the reason for the overtime? Is there anything special with the overtime with regards to the fire department?
I think
any incidents, anything that has happened that is
not that I'm aware of, but I do know that, as most of you know, that they were for a long period of time talking about a 21-man shift or a 22-man shift. I believe right now they're working on a 19-man force, and to that regard, they have done that. But again, with a force that is, and I'm not trying to kick anyone down because I'm up there in age, but with an older force, you do have illnesses, you do have situations that take place, and they have several positions that are either out, injured in line of duty, or out on a medical problem. So they had to backfill. But I think that's one department, I think, that has understood the severity of the shortfall in the budgets, and they have done as good as they can.
That's the fire department you're referring
Correct.
to? Okay.
Correct. So they've done a real good job.
Well, that's gratifying to hear, because that was of major concern to me, because the fire department didn't seem to be getting the message that we were talking about last year. And if you're telling us that they are taking more serious our concerns around that, then I would be willing in this situation to move to approve this as well. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Councilor. Any other questions for Mr. Famano? Councilor Lucy.
Maybe I'll do this publicly. I know last year, I think we sent a letter probably in October of the concerns we sent to the letter to the mayor about the overtime issue, and I'll probably do it publicly because I think I speak for every member up here. This year certainly not going to be like years past, where there's money been in revenue reserve that you're able to transfer in overtime, and it's only the beginning of December, and just tell all those different departments to be careful how they spend it, or spend it wisely now, because it's not going to be there like there's been years past where we'll be able to find a little money to do the overtime. Whatever the fire department did towards the end of last budget season, they should probably be doing it again now and not wait till the spring. So, just thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Lucy. No further questions from Mr. Fermano? Thank you, Mr. Fermano. And I just want to, remind the council, too, the reason I think we I don't want to use the word rushed on these financial papers we did this week under suspension is, again, next week is it was an anomaly where we're having a primary race for the Senate. We are not having a meeting, so we had to do it now because some of these things are timely as far as people getting paid. So I, too, like the other councils, I don't like to vote on numbers this large this quick, but I think everybody's hands were tied here, and it's only fair to the people that are owed funding that we expedite this process. So I just want to remind the public why we're not meeting next week, and hopefully they'll come out and vote. So thank you, Mr. Romano. And entertain a Councilor Lucy a motion. You ready for a motion, Councilor?
To adopt.
Okay. On Councilor Lucy's motion to adopt, the clerk will call the roll.
Councilor Anderson.
Yes.
Bucci.
Yes.
Christensen.
Yes.
Condon.
Yes.
DePietro.
Yes.
Furlong. Kinnon. Lucy.
Yes.
Matheson.
Yes.
Spatafora.
Yes. Motion is adopted unanimously. Next order of business. Oh, I'm sorry, sure.
Under suspension of docket rules, resolved that it is the sense of City Council that the Traffic Commission eliminate resident-only parking from 805 to 819 Main Street and establish in its place a 30-minute parking zone, that the Traffic Commission extend the 15-minute parking at 9 Grove Street from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. to coincide with the hours of various stores at that location, and that the Traffic Commission consider granting an Orient Street resident an exception to the resident-only parking on Crescent Street. Councilor Nestor.
Councilor Nestor is not here this evening, so on Councilor Christensen's motion to suspend docket rules, all in favor? Aye. All opposed? Rules are suspended. And on Councilor Christensen's motion to pass, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion is passed. No,
it's passed.
Passed, yeah. Motion is passed. Next order of business.
Ordered that the Malden City Council endorse the Switchbox Art Project as proposed to the Citizen Engagement Committee and outlined at this meeting. Councilors Bucci, DePietro, Nestor, Lucy, and Furlong.
Thank you. On Councilor Bucci's motion to suspend docket rules, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Rules are suspended. Councilor Bucci for the paper.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr.
Sorry.
President. In front of everyone, I've included a packet of information. Back in September, if you may recall, we had, the Citizens Engagement Committee had met with a local resident by the name of Naomi Brave. Some of us know her good work in the artist component of the city's efforts. And she presented to us a Switchbox art project. It was looking for the endorsement of the Citizens Engagement Committee, which she, in fact, received. And tonight, I'm pleased to bring to the whole council the entire package that includes full funding for that project. Included in the package is a little bit of information regarding other cities' samples of what a Switchbox art project is, as well as the proposed agreement, contract / release waiver, all the documents that would certainly bring forth a very specific process, application process, as well as to protect the city from any types of liability. And what I'm looking for tonight, or as representative of the Citizens Engagement Committee, is the whole body support for this project to move forward. The project would be to paint. We have approximately 24 switch boxes across the city. It would be allowing us to continue our work to enhance beautification projects, and it would be fully the efforts of our Malden resident artists. Naomi could not be here tonight, so I don't know if anyone has any questions, but did want to relay to folks that Included in the packet, as I have distributed to you all in the past, is our maps that outline where these switchbox, where the switchbox units reside, so that you can look at which ones may reside in your ward. You will, in fact, have the ability, city council members will have the ability to weigh in on whether they want their specific boxes done in their wards. The process that's in place for the application is for the artist to submit multiple locations of interest and then submit their designs to a subcommittee that will be involved with folks from the Malden Cultural Council, as well as other members of our art programs. And then there will be representation there from the City Council, as well as the Mayor's Office. So it's not something that, we will certainly still have a level of input and control, but tonight was to look for our continued support as a whole body to see this project move forward.
Thank you, Councilor Bucci. Turn my mic on. Thank you, Councilor Bucci. Any questions for Council? I know there is a pack in front of us, and we have one question from Councilor Kinnon. Councilor Kinnon?
Thank you, Mr. President. I think this is a wonderful idea, and I want to commend the citizen engagement. I do have a question about whether or not you wanted, I understand, something on a box that's in your ward, but will we have input on what is actually, if you say, oh yeah, I want that, about what goes on the box,
yes,
so that it ties in with the neighborhood that it's in?
Yes.
Okay.
The process, Councilor Kinnon, is that the applications will, if we approve this tonight, then the applications will be distributed to the Malden artists. They, in fact, and the application is in your packet, they have to submit 3 boxes of their choice from the boxes that are also listed and photographed in your packet. They, in fact, have to select 3 boxes to do, as well as submit more than one design. Those designs will then be reviewed by a subcommittee, and that subcommittee will include members of the council from the Citizens Engagement Committee, who will reach back out to the councilors, and they will in fact be able to weigh in as to what type of theme do you want on your box, or whether you want one or not. One example may be that there's a box that resides in front of the Malden High School. We hope to reach out to Mary Ann Seeger and have her help work with a group of young artists from the high school to design something that will be specifically related to that particular activity in that area. It may be school-related, it may be something, but again, back to you having the weighted input, clearly it will be your call. I don't know if that answers your question or not, does it?
I guess when you say input, I'll be right up front, but Maplewood Square, for instance, there's a nice box in Maplewood Square. I'd love to see it done. Maplewood Square has period lighting, traditional Christmas decorations, that type of thing. Wouldn't want to see modern art on that box. Would want to see something more traditional. That type of thing that would fit. That's what I'd be concerned about.
And I think, what I would suggest is just forward to, if you look at the boxes that are specific to your ward, or maybe anywhere across the city, it doesn't necessarily just have to be yours, but you can certainly send your thoughts around your boxes to Naomi, and then she can relay that to the artists that they're looking. There may be artists who want to do specific design around that type of artwork. We're not trying to control the artists and their creativity, but they may not be able to supply us what we need. So, but back to the point of wanting it to blend in with whatever it is deemed. I mean, I know Paul we've discussed at committee level, his pond, and wanting to make sure that blends in there. You don't want to see, and you don't want to see some out there artwork in the wrong place. But there may be space for very creative.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I'm all set. Thank you.
Yeah.
Any other questions for Councilor Bucci? Councilor Matheson. So I think what Councilor King was looking for would be Councilor King for Ward 6 on that.
Correct. And again, I would just suggest that you get that information to us.
Sure. Councilor Matheson.
Well, I just wanted to add one concern of mine, but before I did, I wanted to mention that I went to the Malden Arts Salon they had 2 weeks ago, and they discussed this project. Naomi Brave was there, and she mentioned you very fondly, Councilor Bucci. And she went through this whole presentation about which switch boxes and how many, and they're doing it on a shoestring budget. The stipend barely pays for the supplies that the artists are going to be using for the switch boxes. She wants to start by going to the schools first. Those switch boxes are going to involve the students, and I think it's a good cultural experience. My one concern, and I just want to mention this while I have the opportunity because I'm at the council table right now, when you go to the last photo, you look at the rundown of the potential switch boxes here, you could see a box in front of a cemetery, and it's got a very green aesthetic environment there, and for the sake of the folks that might be visiting loved ones, perhaps we might consider not painting a green switch box in front of a cemetery first and concentrate on some of the more aesthetically pleasing locations. That was the only thing I wanted to mention while I was looking through the packet. Mm-hmm. And thank you for your work, Councilor Bucci.
No, thank you for the input. And again, I would just, as I said to Councilor Kinnan, please forward that to me via Sheila or via email, and I'll make sure that Naomi or myself or any member of the CEC, and we'll make sure that she hears that valuable information. Thanks.
Thank you, Councilor Matheson and Councilor Bucci. Any other questions for Councilor Bucci with regard to the switch box painting? And I believe this is available online, Councilor, the application?
The application is not online. It's
not?
actually going to be managed by Naomi Brave.
Okay, so they have to contact her.
Correct.
Okay.
But it will go, I'll put notice on the website regarding the project as soon as I get it.
Do you want to give Naomi's number out, considering we're not going to be on, for 2 weeks and it's the holidays? I know there's an address here.
There is. She's actually she can really get to her via email is her first choice.
Yeah, it's right here, Council. I think it's the second page.
Yep. Let's see. Where are you?
You want me to read it, Council?
Yeah, please.
It's Ed as in Nancy, B as in Bravo, R as in Ralph, A as in Alpha, V as in Victory, E as in Elephant, the number 8 at gmail.com. So it's nbrave8, the number 8, at gmail.com, and her name is Naomi. And her address, if you would like to write to her, is 100 Cedar Street, Malden, Mass. 02148. That's it. Any other questions? Seeing none? Hearing none on Council Bucci's motion to adopt. Clerk will call the roll.
Councilor Anderson?
Yes.
Bucci?
Yes.
Christensen?
Yes.
Condon?
Yes.
DePietro?
Yes.
Furlong?
Yes.
Kinnan?
Yes.
Lucy? Matheson?
Yes.
Spatafora?
Yes. We have one more, correct, Madam Clerk? We have a late entry into the council docket on Councilor Condon's motion to adopt.
Well, shouldn't I read it first?
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry.
Suspend.
Under suspension of docket rules, resolved that it is the sense of the City Council that the Traffic Department replace the resident-only parking signs from Sterling Street to Pleasant Street on Pearl Street. Councilor Condon.
On Councilor Condon's motion to suspend council rules, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Rules are suspended. On Councilor Condon's motion to send to traffic, all in favor?
Aye.
Adopted.
Passed.
Item is passed. Docket is clear. Councilor Christensen's motion to adjourn, all in favor? Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize. Personal privilege. Councilor Furlong.
Thank you, Mr. President. First of all, I'd like to congratulate Malden High School on their victory last Thursday, Thanksgiving Day. I'll leave Malden Catholic and the Mystic Valley School congratulations to some other people on the council. Second of all, I'd like to congratulate the Malden A Squad Papuana, who fought valiantly last Friday in the New England Regional Finals and lost in double overtime. But a season, the only loss of the season. I think they played 5 or 6 playoff games in a span of about 3 weeks, and that's pretty difficult to do. Also, I'd like to wish good luck to the Malden Papuana B Squad cheerleaders. They leave for Disney World next week, as well as the Malden Papuana D Squad, which leaves Saturday, which my daughter Mackenzie is on that squad. To wish them good luck down in Florida. Some other good news tonight, just for people that have been on public safety, and we've gone back and forth. Some of you might know, some of you might not know. But talking with Dom, City Controller, tonight, and the Mayor's office, a spec and a bid package has been put together for a pump fire truck, which, in all intents and purposes, will be hopefully online in the city by June or July of this coming year. So all the hard work and all the pushing, we're going to get the fire department a new pump truck. So good work by everybody on the committee. Thank you.
Good news all around, Councilor Furlong. Councilor Bucci, move right down the line.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just a couple things. I wanted to first, last week we weren't on cable, and I usually don't utilize cable. I'm not a fan of speaking publicly, but I do want to take a moment to thank Chris Webb and his team, and the obviously the many residents and public employees. I was one of those residents last Saturday when the H1N1 clinic was held, and served up a high number of folks in the community with the hope that, according to Chris, there may be another moment in time where we'll be able to do the same process again. But it was so well organized by Chris and his team. People were very patient to wait. The lines were long and lengthy, and I don't think we turned that many. There was a point where we had to do a cutoff, but I don't believe that there was a high number of folks turned away. But again, kudos to him. I think he does a fabulous job. Next Wednesday, the 9th, at Linden School, we'll be having a meeting with the Malden Police Department. We've been planning to set up a neighborhood watch group, and we've had residents volunteer to ultimately have two different types of groups set up on both Precinct 1 and Precinct 2 of Ward 8. So hopefully folks will get the notice. I'll send out electronic messages as well as posting it. But that'll be the Wednesday, December 9th. And also wanted to thank folks last week, a couple of the colleagues as well. We had our second community input public session regarding the Malden mural that's being designed over at the MBTA. Again, that information is on our website. I invite folks to get to that site if they were unable to attend the event or see the fabulous work of these 15 to 17 young men and women that have been compiling this fabulous image of the past history and proud future of Malden to be depicted on a wall, and it's really worth the effort of going online. Clicking it on, you can see the progress of where it all began and where we're at right now. And most importantly, when you do get online, you're actually linking to another site that allows you the ability to look at the images, look at the project and its description, and again, we're asking for more input, so you can, if you are unable to attend, you can have the ability to still provide that information. And last but not least, we all know that it's, most difficult times, the economics still aren't the feel that things are moving in a more positive direction, and no matter how we may hear of some good news, but the reality of the day is it is the holiday time, and over the past few days, I certainly have received information at my home as well as even here tonight, and I know that there's a lot of good will of people this time of year, whether it's from feeding folks at Thanksgiving or the plans that some of us have to do this on Christmas Day. But Toys for Tots is out there, and it's out there in many forms. I know that Mr. Council Lucy is really somebody who has rallied around that last year as well. This year, over December 9th, 10th, and 11th, there are two events occurring here in the city. Down at Atrium Maplewood Place on the 9th and the 10th from 9 to 5. You can just drop off any generous gifts that you may have for the kids. And at the same time, the Malden Youth Hockey alumni, which I'm one of them many, many years ago, are hosting an event at the VFW on Friday, December 11th. And again, come by. You can catch up with an old friend, as well as bring some good cheer to a young child. So just those bits of information for folks to kind of keep on their radar. Thanks a lot.
Good job, Council Bucci. Council Lucy.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Mr. President. Almost got by me, but seeing Council Bucci mention Toys for Tots, we just sent out over 700 letters. We are doing it again this year. We'll take gifts they're unwrapped. They're any age from infant to 13 years old. New. Yeah, preferably new. Yeah, new gifts. Toys, and you can bring them down to my office at 919 Eastern Ave from 8:30 to 5 o'clock. So last year was a phenomenal success, and we'd like to see the same this year. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Lucy. Councilor Gary Christensen.
Thanks, Mr. President. Just want to reiterate, I think, our thanks to the council and to the entire community on a great holiday parade. This is the sixth one that we've been a part of, and I don't want to speak for the president, but I think it was one of my favorites, just because of all the adversity on raising funds in this kind of a year, and then, of course, the nor'easter that came up the coast on Friday. I wasn't sure we were going to be able to pull it off, but we did. And I just want to thank, the volunteers, the sponsors, everybody that was involved, particularly the committee that's been at it since, I think, over the summer, Mr. President, led by Megan Drummy, of course, who's been a standard bearer for many years on the parade since we have been involved again with it. So just want to let the council know, it was informed by Malden Access Television, they're going to be airing the parade starting tomorrow at 4:30 and Sundays at 4 o'clock p.m. And I guess there's going to be a prominent feature on the councilor from Ward 7 who made quite a appearance at the parade. So again, they're going to be airing it the month of December on Tuesdays at noon, Wednesdays at 4:30, and Sundays at 4 o'clock p.m. The second and final item, Mr. President, is I just want to also let the body know that we are closing in on the debut of the citywide World War II memorial at Bell Rock Memorial Park, which is going to be at the corner of Wigglesworth and Main Street. And I believe in your packets today that was coordinated by our clerk of committee, Sheila Fermano, you have the initial list of names that are going to go up on the memorial. I would ask all the council members to really take a close look at this along with their constituents, because we want to make sure we get all the names, obviously, on the plaques. There's a due date, I believe, of January 1st, and if there are any questions, you can refer them to me, or I've been working with Debbie Burke out of Mayor Howard's office. And then once we have all the names assimilated, then we're going to start planning the actual event, which will take place in June, which coincides with the 100th anniversary of the park. I think it's going to be a real special event, particularly where we're going to be able to showcase all the names across the city. And I just want to conclude by really complimenting Mayor Howard. You know, when people said we couldn't, when the fiscal calamity began here, he's one that said we could. And I think you're starting to see, his dedication and hard work right here in this document that you have before you. So look forward to working with you and having a great ceremony for our World War II veterans in June of 2010. Thank you, Mr. President.
So if I could ask a quick question, Councilor.
Yes.
So if a resident wanted to know if they are on this list, they can contact you or there's a number here, right?
Yeah, I think for purposes now, you might want to give them the City Council office, but it's really being coordinated with Mayor Howard's office, Debbie Burke in particular, myself, and the Veteran Services Director.
Yeah, I think that's important to, just...
Absolutely, right. And I think what they're going to do, Mr. President, too, this is the first look from our end, but they're going to be advertising in all the newspapers, I believe. The city website will have this, I think, on the front part of on the home side of the page. So there's enough time for people to take a look and make sure. I know the council to my right has already been reviewing the list, not when you were speaking, of course, Mr. President. But he has a couple names that he's going to look into further with us to make sure that they are incorporated.
Thank you, Council. Great job. Councilor Matheson? Councilor Matheson.
I just wanted to acknowledge the Bread of Life's good work on Thanksgiving Day. They set up in the cafeteria at Malden High School and served, Councilor Christensen tells me, about 300 meals. I served there, and many public officials were there. Council President Spatafora I saw, and Councilor Christensen, Councilor Lucy. But the Bread of Life is, they served 330,000 meals last year. It's a great organization, and I personally enjoyed myself a great deal. I hadn't been in that high school in quite a long time, and although I believe everyone deserves to eat, I get as much out of it as anyone else does. I really enjoyed doing it, and it was a wonderful event. Just wanted to acknowledge that.
Well said, Councilor. Councilor Anderson.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. I want to begin by thanking both yourself and Councilor Christensen for your effort in organizing this holiday parade. As quiet as it's kept, you may know that I love parades. Love parades, and was happy to participate with my other volunteers from Ward 7 that came out as elves that were passing out candy along the way as we brought Santa's sleigh and reindeer into the parade. I would hope, though, that as we go forward in looking at doing that next year, that we can put our finger on a way to be able to get the word out to more residents. I mean, it was... we were happy to perform to whatever audience was there, but it would be nice if the word could get out so that I think the people that did not get out to see the holiday parade missed a good parade. You know, we'll be able to see it on MATV, but it would be nice to have more folks along the parade route as it used to be back in the old days. So to Councilor Christensen, Councilor Spatafora, thank you for your efforts in continuing that great activity. I'm going to continue in that spirit of the holiday parade, and on December 13th is the plan for Santa Claus to be on board that sleigh and reindeer that I brought into the holiday parade. We will have that going throughout Ward 7, so for my constituents in Ward 7, I hope you will be on the lookout in the evening, beginning at 4 o'clock in the evening. Santa Claus and his sleigh and reindeer, along with elves, will be going up and down each of the streets in Ward 7, stopping and giving the youngsters an opportunity to come out and leave their last wishes to Santa Claus, because he'll be there to take those requests for all good little boys and girls.
Council, is that overtime for Santa Claus? We have to keep.
No, Santa Claus looks forward to doing this. He does it as a volunteer service every year. He and all of his reindeers and elves. This is the guy that we love, the guy that drives a reindeer and plays with elves, We saw this evening in information that was left here. I don't know if you councilors have had a chance to see this flyer that came out about the replacement project for hydrants. For those of you who have noticed, the hydrants that are around our city, they're painted different colors. The stems of them are painted different colors, and we know that those different colors indicate the workability of those hydrants. Some of those are capable of producing the adequate amount of water pressure for the fire department to use, and others have limited water pressure. And this advertisement that we see on the replacement of these things, I think, is something that I hope that we will, as a city, look into, because we could use some really upgrading on our hydrants throughout the city. I want also to remind our residents about this Malden Residency Employment Ordinance. We've talked about it over the last couple of meetings, but those meetings have not been televised here on Malden Access Television. Each of us, councilors and the city, are really interested in having Malden residents working on Malden construction projects. There's a major construction project going on at the high school. We have set in place an ordinance where 35% of that workforce should be Malden residents, that 10% of that workforce should be persons of color, that 5% of that workforce should be women, and 5% should be apprentices. That's something that we have put into ordinance. That's something that each of us, I know, are interested in achieving that goal. So I encourage all of our residents who have craft skills that are interested in working on the project to get down to the high school, get down to that trailer and sign up, letting them know what your craft skills are and your availability, and that you are in one of those categories, either the Malden resident, in addition to being the Malden resident, the women, apprentice, minorities. We're looking to achieve those goals, and we're serious about that. The next thing I'd like to mention is I'd like to thank Jim Cahill from our cemetery department for a yeoman's job at what he did in getting a plaque down at the Lincoln Common in honor of David Lederman. You know, a few years ago, the city, through Councilor Simonelli, identified the play area in the Lincoln Common in honor of David Lederman. David Lederman had been a state representative. He had been the first Secretary of Elder Affairs. He was very involved in children's activities as well, and that play area was named after him, but there was never really recognized in any formal kind of way. And so I want to thank Mr. Cahill and his efforts in getting us a plaque that was down there. So to the Lederman family and to the Desmond family, who has been pushing me to get that done, that plaque is there, and I thank Mr. Cahill for that effort. And I think that's it for me.
There you go. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilor Anderson. I didn't mean to jump the gun on you. Councilor Kinnan? Councilor Kinnan.
Thank you, Mr. President. I also want to reiterate what others have said about the committee who ran the parade, and both you, Mr. President, and Councilor Christensen did a wonderful job. It's a great thing to be able to continue that tradition in tough economic times. It's probably even more important. And lastly, I would also like to congratulate Malden High, my alma mater, not shy about that, nor congratulating Mystic Valley Charter School on their first Thanksgiving win in their history, beating Minuteman 28-10. And finally, it was a great Thanksgiving all around. And even though I'm not an alum of Malden Catholic, it is down the end of Maplewood Street. So I would like to congratulate Malden Catholic on their tremendous win as well. Great day for Malden, and hope to see a lot of that in the future. Everybody have a nice week.
Thank you, Councilor. Councilor Bucci has one more item before we go to Councilor Condon. Councilor Bucci.
Thank you, Mr. President, and everyone's indulgence. I neglected to remind folks or to inform folks that this Saturday, December 5th, they're invited to attend the rededication of the Hawk Ridge Delta located at the intersection of Beach Street, Lawrence Street, and Hall Street at about 10 a.m. Come and enjoy the raising of our American flag by our local Cub Scout Pack 609 and the playing of taps as well. And we want to publicly thank Thomas Wheatley, the former administrator of McFadden Manor, for the donation of the flagpole.
Oh, that's nice.
Thanks.
Thank you, Councilor Bucci. And real briefly, before I go to Councilor Condon, we have one more some city business to finish up. I want to thank the councils, obviously, for thanking myself and Councilor Christian for the parade, but it really would not be possible without the donors who financially it is an expensive parade to run, and in this time it was tough to raise the money, but I think we went full steam ahead. Councilor Christensen was always positive about that, but the committee is really who do all the work. We kind of get the accolades up here on the microphone, but I know I'm going to forget somebody, but Steve Altrino was involved this year. Adam Weldi was involved this time, first year for both of them. Meg Drummy was the pillar of that committee, myself, the whole Drummy family for that matter, and Councilor Christensen, and there's some other, and Peg Crow. I always forget mine, Peg Crow. Without that group of individuals doing the work behind the scenes, logistics, putting up do not parking signs on telephone poles, taking them down, Councilor Christensen, it's an extreme amount of work, and I want to thank them publicly every year because I think sometimes they don't get the accolades we do, and it's without them, quite possibly the parade would not happen, or it would not happen. So thank you for that. And I just want to remind everybody, next Tuesday is the election. I know I said it 3 or 4 times. Polls open at 7 a.m., close at 8 p.m. I encourage everybody to go out there and vote. And that's all I have. Councilor Condon.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to take this opportunity to open up our nominations for clerk of committee. We only have one more council meeting between now and the end of the year. So, consistent with past years, I'd like to open up nominations for clerk of committee.
So on Councilor Condon's motion to open up nominations for clerk committee, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Nominations are open.
I would nominate our clerk of committees, Sheila Famano.
On Councilor Condon's motion to nominate Sheila Famano clerk committee, seconded by Councilor Lucy, all in favor? Oh, no. Close nominations. So we want to put her in already.
I would also like to, I believe our council rules allow us to waive any kind of commitment to have her come before the ordinance committee. So I would move that that not be required of our clerk of committees.
Okay, so first let's close nominations on Councilor Anderson's motion to close nominations for the clerk. All in favor? Aye. Nominations are closed. On Councilor Condon's motion to waive our ordinance to have Ms. Romano appear before the ordinance committee, to waive that. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
On the nomination.
Yep. You ready, Council?
Yeah.
Appointment?
Yeah, I have another point.
So we're going to do a roll call. On appointment for Sheila Famano for clerk will call the roll.
Councilor Anderson.
Yes.
Bucci.
Yes.
Christensen.
Yes.
Condon.
Yes.
DePietro.
Yes.
Furlong. Kinnon.
Yes.
Lucy. Matheson.
Yes.
Spatafora.
Sheila Famano. Welcome back, Sheila. She is appointed. Councilor Condon.
I think every one of us, now that she's appointed, I might as well say something nice. But I think every one of us know the job that she does for us. I know she's my left and right arm, but we also know she's had a very difficult time the last few months and still has found a way to keep all of us as active councilors. So, next I would like to nominate our, whose 5-year appointment I believe is up, and that would be City Controller Dominic Famano. So at this time I would ask that we open up nominations on the Controller's position.
Okay. Similar fashion on Councilor Condon's motion to open up nominations for City Controller. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Nominations are open.
I would place the name of Dominic Famano for our City Controller.
Seconded by Councilor Lucy. On Councilor Condon's motion to place Dominic Famano, seconded by Councilor Lucy, on file. All in favor? I'm to close the nomination again. Motion to close nominations?
Yes.
Councilor DePietro's motion to close nominations. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Nominations are closed.
Councilor Condon's motion to waive the interview.
Yep. Councilor Condon. On Councilor Condon's motion to waive the interview process governed by our ordinance. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? It is waived. On Councilor Condon's motion to appoint Dominic Famano, City Clerk. Call the roll, please. I know.
Yeah.
Councilor Anderson.
Yes.
Bucci. Christensen.
Yes.
Condon.
Yes.
DePietro.
Yes.
Furlong. Kinnon. Lucy. Matheson.
Yes.
Spatafora.
Dominic Famano.
Thank you.
Congratulations, Dominic.
Might as well clap for the guy.
Councilor Condon, you still have the floor.
Yep. Thank you, Mr. President. Everybody knows how hard this guy works. You're still in the hospital with this serious operation, and he's calling the office to send work home. So I don't have to say too much about Dom, because I think he has the respect of this entire city council and the respect of any councilor that's had the privilege of working with them over the last 5 years. So, thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Condon. Thank you, Councilor Anderson. On Councilor Christensen's motion to finally adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Council is adjourned.